Hey, this is the Fight Nerd. I'm here now with Jimmy Pedro inside the Zebra cage. Jimmy, how's it going today?
So far, so good.
It's early in the day, and you're here for at the MMA World Expo with your Zebra booth, right?
That's correct. We're here with Zebra. Zebra is the official mat and equipment supplier here for the MMA Expo in New York. Our company does everything from floor to ceiling for facilities. We do mats, we do cages, rings, bag racks, custom design, and even installation for our clients.
And Jimmy Pedro, of course, world-class Olympiad, and he's now getting into the MMA world. We were just at Bellator a little while ago in Philadelphia, where we saw Rick Hawn take on Levon Maynard. I tried to remember the name there, I got it this time. He took on Levon Maynard, and he won really nicely with some great-looking judo. Let's talk about that fight.
Yeah, that was Rick's first opportunity on a major promotion. We recently signed him with Bellator. I helped manage Rick Hawn. He was 8-0 prior to that fight, and now is currently 9-0. With that win, he got an invitation to be in their next welterweight tournament, which is going to start next February. And we're hoping that Rick takes his MMA career and becomes the Bellator champion. He is currently on hiatus, vacation now, headed to the Caribbean for a cruise, and then back training full-time in hopes in pursuit of becoming the Bellator champ.
Now let's break down that fight, because that fight had some great judo. We saw an amazing shoulder throw that knocked Maynard down to the ground, then he finished with a TKO finish. Let's talk about how that setup happened.
Well, you know, Rick has really studied the stand-up game now with Mark Delagrati at Sitjod Tong in Boston, and has really gotten quite skilled at throwing punches and kicks and becoming a well-rounded fighter. Obviously his judo is world-class, but he's added to that some jiu-jitsu and some Muay Thai. So he's become a complete fighter, but dedicated himself to become a professional MMA fighter. In that particular match, the first round was pretty much all stand-up, both guys trading some punches and some kicks. There was about 45 seconds left in the round, and I had yelled at Rick to let's get going, let's win this round, let's get more aggressive, go after him. And he ended up throwing a high kick that Maynard ended up catching, sort of taking Rick to the ground with the leg, and it just so happened he tried to grab Rick from behind, and instinct took over. Rick just grabbed his wrist, threw him with Ippon Seoinage, or a shoulder throw. And if you're not a judo practitioner and you're not used to taking falls, doing a somersault in the air can leave you disoriented. So I think combination of being disoriented and landing on his head, Maynard was a little bit out of it, didn't know where he was, and Rick just pounced, capitalized on the opportunity, jumped on him, hit him hard, hit him often, and the ref stopped the fight in the first round.
That's right. Now, judo is one of those few sports we have in MMA where you can actually, if you take my back, I'm just going to throw you. You don't really have to worry about getting choked out as much. That's one of the good things here. Now, how does Rick match up to the current champion in his weight class, Ben Askren?
You know, that'd be an interesting matchup. You know, Ben is a tough fighter. He's obviously world-class wrestler, competed in the Olympic Games, and his takedowns are phenomenal. The one thing, though, you know, in that match, it comes down to styles. And if Rick can prevent a takedown, I think that Rick is a better striker, better, you know, both with his hands and his feet than Askren. Rick is, you know, brown belt level jiu-jitsu at a Renzo Gracie school. He can finish you on the ground. So if Askren can't take him down, it's going to be a long fight. It's going to be a tough fight. I'm not saying that, you know, Rick's going to win it, but it would be interesting to make Askren fight on his feet 4 or 5 rounds. And as we saw in his last match, he took his opponent down frequently, often mounted him, but couldn't finish. And you know, if you can't finish people, then it becomes a long night. And for somebody like Rick, who's no slouch himself, standing up, not only just with punches and kicks, but also from a throwing aspect and takedown aspect, be interested to see Rick on top of Askren.
So your gym trains a lot of judo and MMA guys. So tell us about who else is being trained right now at MMA in your gym.
In my gym, well, we have a fighter.
Let's call it that gym too, by the way.
My name is, I run Pedro's Judo Center in Wakefield, Massachusetts. I am a USA Judo National Training Center. We have about 8 of the top U.S. judo athletes that are in pursuit of the 2012 Olympic team training at my facility. And we currently don't have anybody else specifically training in MMA. However, the girl that represented the United States from our gym at the last Olympics, Ronda Rousey, she won a bronze medal at the Beijing Olympics. She trained in our facility since she was 16 years old. She actually is fighting this evening on the Tough Enough card out at the Orleans Hotel in Vegas. She's going to be the next, guaranteed, mark my words, the next superstar female in MMA, Ronda Rousey.
All right, so watch out for her. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about is MMA in the Olympics. Now, you are a former Olympiad, as we mentioned. What do you think about having mixed martial arts in the Olympics? Is it even possible?
It is. Anything's possible. The one thing that MMA needs to be able to do is they need global participation, and they need it all done under one set of rules. So as long as the world embraces the same set of rules, and there are at least, and I don't know the minimum number to be in the Olympics, but there has to be a minimum number of 50 to 75 countries that have a national governing body of that sport in that country to even be considered to be an Olympic sport. So, and the process to get there is very lengthy. So it's not possible for it to be there prior to 2016. The first time you could ever see mixed martial arts in the Olympics would be 2020, just based on the process to get there. And then it has to be introduced. Whoever's hosting the games in 2020, which hasn't been decided yet, would have to introduce MMA as an exhibition sport. Once it's introduced as an exhibition sport in 2020, it has to sit out in Olympics, and so that the rest of the world can then, you know, train teams and train athletes to compete. So then you wouldn't see it back in until 2028. So we're talking a ways off. We're talking a ways off before MMA is actually in the Olympics.
Now, what do you think about the rules? How would the rules be adapted for the Olympics?
Well, I don't think there would be that much. Safety is definitely an issue with MMA today. I mean, we're seeing the big thing with safety is trained professionals. Most of the injuries that occur in MMA are by amateurs, by people that are unskilled, you know, sticking out arms when they shouldn't, or not tapping when they should, or, you know, that sort of thing. So as the athletes become more professional and they train full time, you see a lot less injuries likely to occur. So I don't think they have to change the rules all that much. It just has to be a unified set of rules. You know, you can't have knee strikes on the ground, you know, or heel kicks on the ground. So some minor things like that, that if the entire world embraced it and one organization backed it, then there's a likelihood that it could happen with the existing set of rules.
So in other words, a long road to go before we might see it in the Olympics. But luckily, speaking about a shorter road now, MMA in New York, hopefully it's happening soon. Let's talk a little about that. Why should mixed martial arts be legalized in New York? We talked about this last year, but here we are again. It's still not there yet. So what's it going to take to get the sport legalized in New York?
Well, you know what? It just became legal in Massachusetts, right? They had their first fight night in June in Massachusetts. And I mean, every state should embrace this sport. It's the fastest growing sport, period, globally. And it's here to stay. And the world loves MMA. I mean, you know, every walk of life, whether they are, you know, your construction worker to your doctor to your female teenager or even mom. I mean, there's a lot of folks that love watching MMA because it's exciting. Everything gets settled in the ring, and you know, it's the sport of the future without question. So bring it on, New York, because everybody else is, and it's growing. You're just missing the boat.
We absolutely are. Jimmy, thanks for your time today.
My pleasure. Cheers.